Hi friends, today we're working on Unit 4, Lesson 20, page 205. All week this week we will be working on some story problems that we are going to have to figure out what is the operation we need to use. So like operation just means like what do we need to do, add or subtract. And we'll be talking about that every day. As usual, we'll be doing two together and then the next two will be on your own. However, I'm not going to leave you high and dry. I will be reading these to you in the video and we will make either a math mountain or an equation to kind of get your brain going on what you need to do. All right. So you can solve it in this little space here, or you can solve it on the page, but the important thing is that you do show me your work so I can see your thinking. I know that it's a little bit frustrating sometimes to show our work, but being that we are distance learning, it makes it really tricky for me to be able to see your thinking this year. If we were in class, it would be a little bit different. Excuse me. And I wouldn't have to be quite as picky because we could have conversations. But because I can't watch you or talk to you about it, it's really important that I see your thinking on the paper. All right, so we'll start with number one. Number one says Maxine cuts out 48 squares to make a quilt. She needs 16 more squares to complete the quilt. How many squares will be in the quilt altogether? Do we know the total of the squares that she's going to use? So I'm going to make a math mountain to represent what we need to work with here. So she cut out 48 and then she needs to cut out 16 more, and then it says altogether how many squares will be in the quilt altogether. We don't know how many squares are in the quilt at the end. And so that means that we know the partners, but we don't know the total. So when we do not know the total, that means we need to add the partners together to get the total. If we do know the total, usually what we can do is subtract the total or count up to get to the total. So when we do know the total in one of the partners, you have to figure out the other one by counting on or by subtraction. So since we know that this one is addition, we're going to go ahead and make our vertical stack, just like that. And we're going to add that up. When you have the answer to 48 plus 16, go ahead and put it in the chat. As always, if you would like to finish this whole page on your own, you're welcome to do that. If you do make any mistakes, since we only have 4 equations, I will be turning it back to you for you to fix those mistakes. Just make sure and go into your journal and see which problems are incorrect. I will say number 3 is incorrect if you get number 3 wrong, and then I want you to look at that again, ask me questions if you need to, solve it, and then turn it back in with the new answer on there. Number 2 says Mr. Adams buys 93 paper plates for a party. He buys 43 large plates, the rest are small. How many small plates does he buy? So do we know the total in this one, or do we have the 2 partners? We do have the total, don't we? 93 is our total, and 43 is one of the partners there. So if I were solving this one, I would make a vertical equation that looks just like this. Look at that, we don't even have to do any ungrouping there. Did you notice that we didn't have a partner? So I chose to do subtraction. When you have the answer to this, will you please let me know in the chat what your answer is? You'll notice that I'm putting my labels in there. That's pretty important to make sure and put your labels on your paper so that everybody knows what you're talking about. Number 3 says, Chad collects stamps. He has 32 stamps. Lauren gives him some more stamps. Now Chad has 51 stamps. All right, so if we're making a math mountain out of this, how will we organize it? We have two numbers, 32 and 51. He had 32, he got some more, and now he has a total of 51. Yeah, 51 is our total. Total goes to the top. Do you hear that TT? Total top. And you're solving this one on your own. All right, our last one says Trina's team scores 56 points at the basketball game. This is 30 more points than the other team scores. How many points does the other team score? Do we know the total? Do we know two partners? What do we have here? Yes, we have our total, which is 56. And one partner. So both of these, I would do subtraction for them. All right, when you're finished, make sure you take a picture of page 205 and turn it into Seesaw.